Hey everyone, my name is Alex and welcome back to my channel. If this is your first time here, I'm usually not dressed like this, but I am celebrating Halloween a little bit early. I'm recording this on October 26th. This will probably be uploaded after Halloween at some point in November, so I hope you had a wonderful Halloween. Spooky. I will show off my costume. This is my costume. I am a Renaissance witch. We were planning on going to the Renaissance Festival, and I'm of course the Renaissance witch of the time, but of course it might rain and it might be really cold, so we may skip it. But this is going to be my costume and I will be recreating this look, but I'm so excited for this. This is my Renaissance official outfit now that I had time to create one, and I found out it has pockets. So real quick, my room may look a little bit different. We are in a totally different state. We did finally move out of Florida. That is the quick update. We are now in Indiana. We can experience seasons again, and I'm loving it so much. That's the quick update. If you want a full story about just the process of moving, I will make an update video at a later time. But as you can read by the title, we are going to be talking about the psychic capital of the world, which is located in Florida, if you can imagine that. So we are going to be talking about Cassadaga, Florida. I don't know how I came across this information, but I'm pretty sure it was a TikTok talking about the psychic capital of the world and people are taking tours of it. And of course it was located in Florida, and I'm like, well, we were leaving in a couple of months and my cousin just happened to have a vacation, so she was in town visiting us. So we made a day trip and we went to go visit the psychic capital of the world. So this video is going to be a tiny bit different. This one doesn't have so many haunted things in it. There is a little bit of haunting things in it, but just this whole town is just so fascinating that I had to do full research on it. I had to do a full video, and we did of course visit, so I will give my little personal experience in it, which will get very personal. But let's go back to the 1800s. We are going way back. So it all starts with a man named George P. Colby. Now, I found this information at thehistorycenter.org by Adam M. Ware, just to give credit. George P. Colby, who I will just refer to him as Colby, he was born on January 6th, 1848 in Pike, New York, and passed away on July 27th, 1933 in Cassadaga, Florida. So here's a direct quote. He claimed to have had supernaturalist inclinations instilled in him at a formative age. A baptism in freezing lake water, he said, had thinned the veil between our world and the world which spirits ascend, allowing him direct contact with those on the other side. Even though this statement sounds a little bit out there, but in the 19th century, this wasn't an uncommon thought because of the time. Surprisingly, the 19th century actually birthed many new religious movements, especially those that combine religious thinking and science. Blending together natural science and the supernatural. So spiritualism was one of those movements, as well as Mormonism and Seventh-day Adventist Christianity. Christians maintain a belief in a physical resurrection of the body. Spiritualists maintain a belief that personalities, not bodies, survive death. This understanding of the universe reveals the significance of a central practice of spiritualism, the use of mediumship to interpret and communicate for the living information provided through contact to the spirit world. So, very different beliefs. Now, I myself am an ex-Catholic. Spiritualists are personalities, I guess our souls, not our bodies, survive death. For me personally, I believe in the supernatural, and just seeing so much evidence of the supernatural, of mediums, psychics, and all that stuff, but just being able to ghost hunt and being able to talk to the supernatural, I fully believe in that. Now, actually going to a person, to a medium or a psychic, that's where I'm a little skeptic, but I really want to believe in it. But that's just my personal thought. So Colby fully believed in spiritualism since his baptism and spent a lot of his younger years giving lectures about spiritualism. So he was known as an intellectual apologist, which I'm going to give a couple of definitions about what this could mean and what it is. Just a straight up definition just from the plain old dictionary. An apologist is someone who speaks or writes in defense of someone or something that is typically controversial, unpopular, or a subject of criticism. Religiously, in general, apologists are people involved in apologetics, a branch of theology concerned with the defense of the faith. I'm gonna hold on to my thoughts. An apologist hones his ability to defend the Christian faith by presenting proofs from the Bible, logic, and other empirical and intellectual sources. For example, from the Bible, Peter 3:15 could well be considered an apologist theme verse. Quote, "Always be prepared to give an answer to everyone who asks, to give you the reason for the hope that you have, but do this with gentleness and respect." End quote. But Colby, his religious version was that he lectured about the benefits of seances, and he showed off his gifts as a medium during these seances. So, kind of whoa on the whole Christian point of what a lot of people try to be. I'm gonna just listen. You can believe in whatever you want. Listen to Peter 3:15. Those who ask for proof, go ahead, but with gentleness and respect. Now this, I'm not trying to shit on anyone. You can believe in whatever the fuck you want. I'm an ex-Catholic, I'm an ex-Christian, and I don't believe in the Bible at all. It is a fictional group of stories that men have created and put in a book. That's what it historically is. Whatever. It does teach some valuable lessons, but also like genocide and murder. We're not going to get into my religious trauma. So during one of these seances, Colby said that one of his spirit guides spoke to him, an indigenous American called Seneca. According to the official Cassadaga website, this was the prophecy. George Colby, a young spiritualist from New York, was told during a seance that he would someday be instrumental in founding a spiritualist community in the South. The prophecy was fulfilled in 1875 when Colby was led through the wilderness of Central Florida by his spirit guide Seneca to an area surrounded by uncommon hills. You can read the whole story about how he took a train down and he was with his family, and literally they were just walking around the woods until he was told that this was the spot. Literally in the middle of Florida, and I don't even know, in 1875 in Florida, I don't even know if there was anything there, to be honest. They established a homestead of nearly 100 acres, and shortly after, they started to receive visitors who were also followers of spiritualism. Of course, when spiritualism hit New York, they found the camp to be very attractive in the wintertime. New Yorkers love Florida. And they are our most common snowbird down there. That's the type of breed we get. So 19 years after Colby founded the land, the Southern Cassadaga Spiritualist Camp Meeting Association was officially formed in December of 1894. Quote, "It's not a camp in the conventional outdoorsy sense. Cassadaga is a camp meeting in the historic religious sense. The term camp meeting refers to religious events typically hosted by holiness ministers that become common in the early decades of American life." So I'm going to refer to the Southern Cassadaga Spiritualist Camp Meeting Association as camp, just because that's a mouthful to say. So one fun fact, Cassadaga is a Seneca Native American word that means water under the rocks. In 1901, the Cassadaga Hotel was built as a hotel and a boarding house for the town's camp, official camp. It burned down along with several other buildings in 1927, but it was rebuilt in 1929. It's such a tiny community, but the amount of visitors that they get monthly, that they get yearly, they desperately needed a hotel. The official camp did build the hotel back then, and it was officially associated with them at the time. Now, of course, the surrounding communities kind of became afraid of Cassadaga. Can you guess why? The surrounding area was mostly Christian, and their ministers would warn their members to stay away. But it had a strange power. Medium's powers come from darkness and not the so-called infinite intelligence, which that's just God. That's literally what the camp called God, was infinite intelligence. It's all the same thing. Also, I don't know if I even have this in my notes. The whole reason why Colby picked the area of Cassadaga was that it's just this big energy vortex. And that's why so many mediums and psychics live there today. There's just this like type of energy that just comes from that location. After Colby passed away in 1933, they sold the Cassadaga Hotel, so it is no longer So it's no longer officially associated with the camp, but it is still a functioning hotel, a restaurant, and a medium reading location, as well as other shops and locations surrounding the camp that have also popped up over the years, like fortune telling, palm reading, tarot cards, etc. But they aren't officially with the official camp, if that makes sense. Also, there are rumors about Colby's body. So he was buried near Lake Helen. So Cassadaga is in between two different lakes. So Lake Helen is one of them, I believe. I'm gonna put up a map. Here's a map. So he was buried near Lake Helen, but there are rumors that it's completely empty. We don't know for sure. I don't know why they never checked, but they probably, I don't want to disturb anything. He's been there for like 90 years. I think he's good. So today the small community is alive and well. The spiritualist camp consists of 57 acres with 55 Victorian homes with about 100 year-round residents. Who are the residents? They're all mediums and psychics. All of them. One really cool quick fact about this place is that it's remained untouched literally for so long. So you're walking around and it literally has not been touched by the modern world. It still looks like it's the early 1900s, walking around, seeing the old historic Florida homes, the hotel. Oh my god, I'm gonna put some pictures up. It's literally like walking back in time. It is so cool, and it's so gorgeous in the summer as well. The camp is laid out in a square with the main road leading to two lakes. There's Lake Colby and there's Spirit Pond. Those who reside here have chosen to live in a community of spiritual people where they can worship and work in harmony with their beliefs. We'll talk about it, but it's kind of encouraged for like skeptics to visit. It's encouraged for any type of person with any type of belief to visit. So there are around 500,000 visitors every single year. Cassadaga is known as the psychic capital of the world. The town is listed on the National Register of Historic Places, which is, if you don't remember, they have town, they have state, and then they have national registers. If it's on the National Register, it is very important to the whole entire nation, which that's the best of the best. Like this little tiny village is on the National Register. I think that's so cool. So according to folklore, the town lies on an energy vortex where the material and spiritual worlds meet. Fun fact, there are around 13 spiritualist camps in the United States. Only 13. And this one is not the oldest, but it is one of the oldest. The main reason for coming to Cassadaga is to achieve some level of enlightenment, whatever that means for you. There are many ways to do this, and they actually won't cost you that much. You can have one-on-one appointments with psychics or healers, but that may run up a rather hefty bill. But the Cassadaga Spiritualist Camp Church, the group that holds to keeping the history of the town alive, they run classes, classes, workshops, and seminars daily. Some of them may cost a little bit of money, some might be free, but they are open to everyone. Special events like spirit encounters, night photography tours, healing classes, Reiki healing circles, Sunday church services, and a lot more are held at various times of the week as well. You can take a historic tour of Cassadaga, which is held at 2 p.m. on Thursday through Saturday each week. Okay, so that is the whole entire history of the town, how it was founded, the leader, and everything. They're very interesting points in the town that I want to talk about, because if you're just looking at this, like I did absolutely no research, and you'll just see the Devil's Chair pop up on Google Maps, and you're thinking, oh. So I want to talk about these little areas that you can visit in Cassadaga or near Cassadaga. The first one we're going to talk about is the Devil's Chair. This is a cemetery near Cassadaga, really, really close, but apparently it's not officially in Cassadaga. This has been on like a lot of websites. There is no cemetery in Cassadaga, but all of the spirits like Cassadaga. But this is the home of the infamous Devil's Chair, which is a large red bench made of brick. There are numerous legends about this chair. Many say that the devil himself speaks to you when you sit on this chair. Some report hearing voices in their head when they are seated. Others say that the devil outright appears to those who sit on the chair. The best known legend of the Devil's Chair is that if someone leaves a can of unopened beer on the bench, one can find it empty the next morning, but it'll be unopened. The real story of the Devil's Chair goes back to the 1920s. The chair was built for a man who unexpectedly lost his wife and spent lots of times at the cemetery visiting her grave. Over the years, his arthritis got the best of him, and the constant walking to the gravesite took a huge toll on his body. He built the chair so he could have a seat after taking a long walk to visit his wife's grave. There are quite a few similar benches in the Cassadaga Cemetery, but the Devil's Chair is the most well-known. Now, if you do any research on cemeteries in general, there are benches sometimes, but this one, I don't know why, just because it's in this town, it just got known as the Devil's Chair. And it is on Google Maps, and it does pop up right there just for everyone to see. So, if you believe in this story, or you want to test your luck with the folklore, maybe get a beer can out there. I will warn you, if you are there after dark, you may get kicked out because there is, of course, security, especially like on Halloween. Please don't torment that poor, I don't know who works there. Please don't torment that poor worker. He's just trying to do his job. It is a cemetery. Please be respectful. I personally do not like cemeteries, and I don't want to, no thank you. Okay, the next location that we are going to be talking about is the Native American Medicine Wheel Park. So this is from the official website, and I'm going to warn you, there's really not a lot of like facts about this place and like what they do. Maybe if you visit there, you can maybe talk to some people about this, but this is all that I could really find about this. So in honor of the Native American traditions, camp members named this location the Medicine Wheel Park. In the late 1990s, full moon, new moon, and medicine wheel ceremonies and pipe ceremonies were conducted in the sacred manner according to Native American traditions. I don't know if these people were copying these traditions or if they were Native American. I don't know. So according to paranormalghostsociety.org,
he's in his box. Do you see him? He's in his box.
So according to paranormalghostsociety.org, who did visit this, I think back in 2004, 2005, 2006, very old website. It's part of a foundation that is now buried under moss and brush. Maybe a house used to be here at some point. I have no clue. Some say that there is a vortex here and no trees grow within the sacred circle. There is a point in the season where you may not be able to find the medicine wheel due to high grasses, but they were able to eventually find it on their second visit. So they said it's a bit further down the path and it seems to possess a lot of energy. But this is a very sacred park, and the medicine wheel was at one time a very valuable asset to the Native American people in this area. If you have any more information about this medicine wheel, please leave a comment, because I cannot find anything about this. If you have any information, I appreciate it. Thank you. Okay, next we are going to be talking about the Horseshoe Park and Fairy Trail. This one, it's so random. It's so cool. I thought I was going to have more of like a folklore history. Unfortunately, it's not, but I think it's really cool. So this is from the official website. So in 1904, the original survey layout for the community showed a meandering circular roadway surrounding the area, which is now referred to as the Horseshoe Park because it looks like a horseshoe. The woods at the edge of the park are reminiscent of the environment the early pioneers encountered when first arriving in Cassadaga in 1875. In 2013, so woo, the Board of Trustees approved creating a fairy trail in a portion of the park. Walking through the white pillars opens visitors to the realm of natural spirits, pixies, gnomes, and sprites, which are elf of fairy. That is what I wrote in my note. It's open from sunrise to sunset, but it's said at night that the fairies are said to be hard at work. I love that. Originally was conceptualized by Lillian Coral, I'm sorry if I mispronounced that, back in 2012. It is an official camp park, so I'm assuming mediums and residents decorated this place. I'm not sure, but it's full of fun little neighborhoods that each kind of like have their own story, or they're random, or there are toys and stuff like that. It's really, they have like their own little villages inside. It is huge. It's so pretty. There's just so much color. It's super kid friendly, and it's like a fun little safe hike to go on. It is absolutely gorgeous in there. It's so fun. It just like kind of just brings back your childhood, and I love it. If you again know anything more about the history, is there more folklore with this park? There's not really a lot of information online, but please leave it in the comments. Also, please let me know who decorates. Can anyone like put their own little village in there, or can anyone add to it? I have no clue. I don't know. It is time for the ghost. So next we're going to be talking about the Cassadaga Hotel, which is in fact haunted. I got a lot of information from Thrillist.com by Terry Ward. I'm going to be quoting a lot of what he quoted because he did an interview with the now owner, which there's just so much good information on here. All credit to Terry Ward. So he said, the lobby at the Hotel Cassadaga is decorated with vintage furnishings and antiques by Diana Morn, who is the owner, and has collected over the years, including a circular courting sofa that dates back to 1883. I walked right by that. Of course, he was like an antique. Oh, that's an original. There's also Tiffany style lamps. Oh, I love it. It's so old. It's so vintage. She did such a great job. I love it. As soon as you walk in, it's bustling with gaggles of friends waiting for appointments with the resident mediums. They live in the hotel. People streaming into the hotel's on-site Sinatra's Restaurante. I took Spanish. I'm sorry, this is Italian. There's an Italian restaurant inside, and we did eat there, and it's so good. Others are quietly pursuing crystals and moonstone jewelry and new age books at the reception area that doubles as a gift shop. But this hotel today is not officially associated with the camp. Just to let you know. But there are mediums everywhere in this town. So the current owner bought the hotel back in 1979 on a whim, and she's been there ever since. I don't really know much more about that. So she says, this is her quote, "I was a little Catholic girl. I had no idea about spiritualism. Morn, who is not a spiritualist, tells me. But on her very first night in the hotel after buying it, she says she saw a spirit." This is her quote. It was like seeing your husband right there, she says on her own encounter, pointing to the lobby's main stairway, where a man in a black suit appeared, staring back at her. He was looking at me. I could see him, but he was kind of like not transparent, but very close to it, so that you could definitely know that he's not human. Apparently, she is not the only one to have such a sighting. This is her quote: "Because many guests come here and meditate at night, just need a quiet retreat. I don't allow children to stay overnight at the hotel since they can be disruptive." Good choice. Morn says, "But the ghosts will come up to me and say, 'I thought you said there were no kids allowed here.' It happens all the time. Without fail, guests report the late night sounds of a little boy and a girl playing together in the hallway and tinkling of tricycle bells." It's cute. Orbs are very, 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 very common in the whole entire village, but they're also very common inside of the hotel as well. But they are very common in guest rooms and hallways. The owner does encourage photographs. Just invite them to come through when you're walking around, she suggests. Tell them, "I would love to catch you on film and we will honor you when we put these photographs out. Always bless them and tell them what you're doing." So don't just talk to them. They're interested in you. They're like, "Oh, new guests, hello." So the owner is not worried about any evil spirits at night in the hotel. She says that the hotel's ghosts protect her and protect the building. It's their home and they take care of it. And of course, ghosts also like to play pranks. Like, yeah, this is our home, but also we're gonna spook you a little bit. You can, of course, book a reading at this hotel, even though the hotel is not associated with the camp. But all of the mediums are certified. Not sure by who, but they are certified. Along with mediums, you can also learn about your past life regression with certified hypnotist Dawn Medley. She usually works at the reception desk. She's also a pro at finding and takes photos of orbs around town during the Encounter the Spirits night tours through the Cassadaga spiritualist camp. So there are around 22 rooms and suites in the hotel. They just have, I think, just a sink and more counter space. It's not huge. The rooms are comfortable, but they are very basic, okay? This is not the Ritz Hotel. We are not fancy up in here, all right? This is literally purely just a spot to rest your head for the night. That is it. The owner said she's cautious to change things because she doesn't want to upset the ghosts. They like the hotel as it is. And that's popped up with a lot of people doing renovations on homes or hotels. As soon as you start changing things in a really old home, you'll notice that spiritual activity picks up more. And they may be angry, they may be confused because they're like, "What are you doing to my house? I've lived here for decades. Don't touch things." So you are more than welcome to take photos and videos inside, but for only personal use only. YouTubers who monetize their videos. No. So no official investigations or filming is allowed inside without written consent from the owners. Trying to do research on the ghost. Wow, there's no information online, but this is what I have gathered. If you have ever stayed the night here, if you've ever had an encounter, please leave a comment below. If you have any more history, also, there's so many mediums in this place, and there's a lot of spirits around, so maybe they can't tell who is what and where. But if you're a medium or a past medium who's ever lived here, do you have any information about official names? Are there any more ghosts? I need some answers. Maybe we can find that out together. Hit me up. I will gladly go back down there. So this is what I found out. So this is from theclio.com. Theclio.com? I don't know. It's THECLIO.com. So this is written by Chelsea Fanning and Diana Riegelsberger. So Diana is an assistant professor of history at the Seminole State College in Sanford, Florida. I have no clue about Chelsea. I tried to find her, no information, but I do trust Diana with some facts, so. There is a ghost by the name of Arthur while he was alive. He resided in the room 22 on the second floor, and he stayed in the 1930s. He loved the outdoors, and he would commonly place a chair at the end of the hall and would look out the window. You'll usually smell cigars and his favorite alcohol, gin. Sometime during the 1930s, it's said that he died inside of the hotel, but not really sure how. Some people claim that they feel someone tapping them on their shoulder, and no one is there. Many people photograph orbs and other outlinings that is believed to be Arthur. And Arthur is known to have a little bit of humor in him, and he is quite mischievous. Just a fair warning. All fun and games. You gotta have fun. And random extra information, I don't know if this is true. According to OrlandoHaunts.com, he is Irish. I don't know. 2 children. There is no information. I hunted and I found no information about children pass away in the hotel. I'm like, are there deaths inside of the hotel? And then there's a crime. Apparently, there are 2 young girls named Caitlin and Sarah, according to 2 websites. That is all the information that I can find on them, and I have no clue. Okay, so I pulled a couple of questions just to understand spiritualism, just to kind of talk about it a little bit. One of the questions is, what and where is the vortex? And their answer is, a vortex is a point of concentrated physical energy on the planet. Some well-known vortexes are in Sedona, Arizona, Stonehenge, and the pyramids of Egypt. How are they built? A man-made vortex is created due to psychic, spiritual activities practiced there. The energy. I'm new into witchcraft. I'm a baby witch, but you create that energy, and it can stay. It all clicks, it makes sense. Cassadaga is a natural vortex with smaller vortices in various locations on the ground. Plus, we have vortices on the ground that have developed over time due to the activities practiced in the camp. 2 examples are Seneca Park and the Fairy Trail. Okay, there's more to the Fairy Trail than they're telling us. What do they do? The Devil's Chair is a myth that has grown into an urban legend that defies common sense. Long ago, wealthier families added stone seating areas to the cemetery plots for mourning. People unaffiliated with the camp created haunted backstories for one of these seats. That is, yeah. So the camp has been continuously occupied by mediums since the 1800s, and it is the largest spiritualist community in the southeast. So the mediums and healers who provide services within the official camp have been certified by the SCSCMA, which is the camp. And I believe they go through 5 to 6 years of training and certification. They are very serious. This is not just a little hotline that anyone can do. No, this is legit serious. Over the years, metaphysical stores and businesses have sprung up in Cassadaga around the perimeter of the 57-acre camp. Although many of these businesses are owned by like-minded people, they are separate businesses and unaffiliated with the official camp. So the Cassadaga Hotel was once part of the camp, but had to be sold off during the Great Depression in order for the camp to remain solvent. The hotel has been privately owned and separated from the camp ever since. So some quick facts. Do they believe in Jesus? Yes. Do they believe in the Bible? Yes. We understand that God's truth has been given to mankind down through the ages, and that these truths have been recorded and compiled into books such as the Bible. Do they believe in the devil? No. So our religion is not based on the Savior God philosophy. Our theology does not embrace the falling from grace or sinning. They don't believe in sinning. Therefore, we do not believe in a devil. We believe we alone are responsible for the benefits and consequences of our actions. Do we believe in heaven and hell? Yes, but not in the traditional way. There aren't places, but rather states of consciousness. Heaven and hell can literally be experienced right here on earth. Facts. Is witchcraft or black magic part of spiritualism? No. If you are interested in more information relative to the above questions, there are books available in their bookstore. I am going to just list them here if you want to read more about spiritualism, just because. There you go. Those are their book recommendations. Do you need an appointment ahead of time? It is recommended to set up an appointment, but you can always do a walk-in. Times fill up very fast, however. This is the last question, and then we're going to be talking about my own personal experience. What is a reading? Here we go. Fun stuff, fun stuff. So also referred to as spiritual counseling, this service is obtained from a certified medium. Spiritualism is a religion, philosophy, and science based on the continuity of life and communication with those who have made their transition. Spiritual counseling is achieved by using the ability of the medium's mind to receive, process, and deliver messages from the higher spirit plane. This is known as mental mediumship. Psychic sign tools such as palm reading, tarot cards, etc. are not utilized in the Cassadaga spiritualist camp. The church has all mediums. A medium is someone who connects with the spirit world. A psychic is someone who connects with your energy. All mediums are psychics, but not all psychics can or want to do medium work. So we personally went to the hotel. I think while we were there, we did not understand where the camp even was, but I wanted to go into the haunted hotel because me. So I don't remember at all who was my psychic. I think I have a photo of her card. I'm not 100% sure. I'm gonna not put her name in because I have certain thoughts and stuff like that. We did do a reading. I don't know if they were like oracle cards. It wasn't tarot. It was very different. And we also talked to my spirit guides, which I'm like, hello, I've never talked to you before, so what's up? I wanted to find someone who was a medium and also a psychic. I like to use tools personally. I love my tarot card deck. I have 2 of them. And fun fact, you're supposed to gift them. You're not supposed to buy your own. And it was funny, last Christmas, I found a like little tiny vintage one for my boyfriend's fiance. So I gifted her the set and she actually got a set for me and we just exchanged sets. It was so random. I'm like, well, now I got my gifted set and I actually like using it more than the one that I bought. We're going to talk about my psychic medium experience. My cousin and I both chose the same medium psychic. She didn't really mind either way. I think she had been to a psychic before. This was my first one-on-one session with one. I've been to like a group one where there's like 200 people there and like nothing ever popped up. It was just one-on-one and I just wanted to see what the experience was like. So I went first, and as soon as it was done, I was literally sitting there downstairs writing all of the notes because I have a terrible memory. And I didn't say anything to my cousin. I'm like, I need to talk to you specifically about certain things, but like we're just gonna compare notes afterwards, and woo, there's a lot of emotion. So something I didn't like with the psychic medium is that they were asking for people that I wanted to connect with, and I only told them the first name, and that is it. She has no idea, like, what, I think she only knew my first name, she didn't know my last name or anything like that. Never made an appointment, like, we're all walk-ins, there's no way to have our personal information at all. The one thing that I was, like, hoping for was that she would just, like, see if there's anyone nearby first and just, like, ask questions like, who could this be? But she was like, okay, so who do we want to connect to first? And she asked for a name. And I'm like, oh, that kind of disappointed me a little bit. So I think I started with my grandpa first, and his name is Harold, or Harry. He passed away in 1997. I believe I was 3 or 4 years old. It was such a long time ago, so I don't know. I don't remember a lot of things, but I hear a lot of fun stories about him. And we all on my mom's side, all of the sisters, I feel like everyone looks like my grandpa. His genetics were very strong. And like just looking at photos of him, I'll maybe like post a little photo, we all look like him. So the first thing that I wrote is that, have I noticed any dragonflies? And at first I said no, and I'm like, wait, I'm so stupid. We live in Florida. We used to live in Florida. There are dragonflies literally everywhere, but like I don't ever like notice them. But apparently, whenever I see a dragonfly, that is my grandpa saying hi, and he sends it to me and to my grandma. And I never, I don't know. One thing there, I don't know if it's like a Midwest thing or I don't know. I always thought of like the red cardinal kind of being like a communicator from like beyond. I feel like with everyone, like where I grew up, it's always a red cardinal. Because I feel like you don't see them that often, but whenever you do, we always just like grew up knowing that that was someone who passed on, just saying hi. It was always a red cardinal. But dragonflies, I'm like, we live in Florida. They're everywhere. I don't know. So I don't know. She didn't really say much more. I did cry during that, saying that he was proud of me and, you know, he's watching over grandma. I think it's the grandma part. That's where I tear up. The reading was just kind of like generic, like, oh, I don't know, just like basic grandpa shit, because eventually she asked, like, oh, that's my grandpa, whatever. And the part where I started to cry, because she's like, do you have any questions? And I know I was going to get a generic ass response, but all the emotions came up. Ass, I'm like, oh, shoot. I'm like, fuck, okay. I asked, are you watching over grandma? And we are not going to talk about that more. We are not going to talk about that. But just the things that she said, I couldn't help it. But my grandma is 92 years young. She's still here. We're going to say it real quick. I'm going to be done, alright? It's hard to talk about past loved ones, but I can get through it. But the older family members, when you know it's getting close, it's even harder. We're not talking about grandpa because I can't. Anyway. Next person is my Uncle Bud, who passed away. He passed away after I graduated high school. And I think it was the summer before I went to college. His real name is Gerald. But if you look at the guy, his name is Bud. This is all for my mom's side of the family. We've gone through too many deaths and it sucks. So obviously I knew Bud a lot longer. All of the people, he was the only person that like I actually knew. All the other people who I brought up, I didn't really know them. One thing that didn't make sense that she said was like, oh, he's like a father figure for you. And I'm like, he was an uncle, I don't know. But they never had kids, they couldn't have children. So maybe that's how he felt. One interesting thing that she said is that Bud and Grandpa are around, they're watching over our whole entire family. They actually have healing and tasks to do on the other side. So they're not just kind of like hanging around chilling. So they kind of are processing, I feel like, their own stuff that they went through while they were alive. But they also have tasks of some sort. I don't know what that means. So they can actually be in many places at the same time. So this part made sense. So if their energy isn't as strong, it's because they are doing their jobs on the other side, but also like talking to you in a way. So if someone's not fully coming through very strong, it might be because their energy is in two separate places. Focus on coincidences and repeated things like the fireflies or red cardinals, but focus on coincidences. They'll mess with electronics, lights flickering, just weird things that's kind of like, huh, like you keep seeing like the same numbers over and over. That's them trying to communicate with you. You say hi if you want, and all that stuff, but that's them. Apparently my grandpa was showing her like a memory of him showing me some items, like I don't know, I'll show an example. But he kept showing me something. She couldn't see what it was, convenient. But he liked to see my reaction. Now, he passed away when I was 3 or 4 years old. I was a toddler. But I remember, this is like a weird memory that like I remember from this. I think this was after he either had a stroke or a heart attack. This was after it. And he had to use a cane and stuff like that, couldn't walk around very well anymore. But he has this shelf in the living room that's like full of like little old cars, and those are like his little cars. He loved cars and like has a whole wall of like different license plates, which is really cool. But I remember like walking into that room and my height is like so low. Like I remember being a toddler and like walking up to him, and we're not gonna cry. The last person that I don't know how personal I want to get. We have a death in the family, and it's of my cousin, and we're not sure if it was an accident or if it was on purpose. I will say that it was a drug overdose. I did try to ask questions about his death, but he didn't want to answer, which was kind of frustrating because that's our biggest question, and no one's been able to get any sort of answer from him. But maybe, I think what she said is that it wasn't, I don't know, like it wasn't supposed to happen or something. I kind of like got that sense, but he doesn't ever want to talk about it. One random thing that I will mention is that she asked if someone collected rocks or crystals, and I'm like, well, I do, but I don't know if he ever did. Then she mentioned, did he collect like Native American artifacts or something? And I'm like, that is very specific. The only thing that I knew, I'm like, talk about your pet snake, because that's the one thing that I knew you had. You had a pet snake. Didn't bring it up. But I'm like, Native American items. That is so very specific. But I'm like, I can't answer any of these, because when he was in high school, like when he passed away, I was very young. I'm not sure. So my cousin is his sister. When she came out, she was crying. Like, it's okay, because I cried too. And of course, talking to her brother and stuff like that. Or I'm not going to get into like what she talked to me about that and all that stuff. But I brought up the Native American thing. I'm like, did he collect Native American artifacts? And she's like, yeah, he did. And I'm like, I went first, and I'm like, I have no clue. I'm like, she's asking me these things to like verify, and I'm like, I didn't know him. I don't know. But yeah, that was him. I fully believe that was him. That is such a random, specific fact. And like for someone in Ohio to collect Native American things, also like we're not Native American in any sort of way, that was very specific, and I feel like that was him. Okay, I only have about 3 minutes left of storage in my phone, so we're gonna talk about my spirit guide. She offered to like read with them. She's using like a pentacle or like a necklace with like a pendant on it, and she was talking like this and like searching for the words, and I was like talking to my spirit guides, and I'm like, okay. And this is when I get like the oracle reading, and I like post it up here and like what it means, stuff like that. Basically, my spirit guides are telling me to manifest good things, what I want, not to focus on the what ifs, do not manifest negative things, don't think about them too much. It should be smooth sailing. My soul is on a path. Everything should click into place. If there are obstacles, then that path isn't for you. Trust my gut and intuition. Now, I specifically was like asking, because we were planning on moving, and there were a lot of obstacles to get here, and I fought like fucking hell to get this damn house we rent. To get this damn house. I wanted it. I'm like, I ain't living in no more shitty fucking places. I'm manifesting this house, and there are obstacles, yes. But I got it. We're gonna talk about, I'll make another update video on the whole process of getting this house and like what I think happened to the previous tenants. I don't even know. I know there are a lot of obstacles, but I manifested it. I'm like, this is gonna work. We're gonna make it work. We got there. I'm working on manifesting good things. I'm trying to filter out the negativity. I'm trying to do better. I'm trying to do that. I feel like that was a big generic message for me. Like, oh, hi, we've never talked before. This, instructions, do this, and we're gonna get started, okay? I do like once a month like tarot card readings to kind of like talk to them, and also past loved ones just in general. I have a lot of them. Cassadaga was just an emotional roller coaster, obviously, as I got mascara all over me and literally running down my face. It's such a cool place. Skeptics are welcome. Any type of religion is welcome. I think it's fun. I think it's cool to explore different religions and just different spiritual things. Even though I don't fully believe in like spiritualism, I don't believe in spiritualism as a religion. But yeah, it was very fun. And here's some other like cool photos of like a haunted place that we went to that was so random, and just like other stuff. I'm sorry, I have to cut this video like right now. I'm really out of storage. Thank you for watching. goodbye. Have a happy Halloween, happy Thanksgiving, happy holidays, whatever you celebrate. Talk to you